Hey everyone, it's Dave. How are you doing? Well, here it is. It's Wednesday morning, and we're getting into the first week before the preseason game. And there's a little excitement around the team. I will give them that. You had this scrimmage last weekend, and the funny thing about the scrimmage to me is just the fact that all week they were talking about, for the first 8 practices or whatever, they were talking about how great the defense was. Oh, Mike Nolan had such a great defense. All the players were spectacular, all top notch. We could be the #1 defense in the entire NFL. Then they had a scrimmage, and in that scrimmage, the offense beat the defense. They scored a bazillion TDs, and Brandon Marshall looked great, and Chad Henne looked great, and Reggie Bush looked great, and that's the way it went. And you kind of look at it and you go, yeah, okay, well, it's practice. Practice! Practice is a funny thing, and scrimmages are a funny thing where everybody's supposed to look good. That's kind of the point, is that you want to put everybody in a position to look good. You don't want people to look bad during a scrimmage. So I expected that everyone would look good. But there was all this hype about, oh my God, Chad Henne's great. And then a few days later in practice was, well, Chad Henne had a bad practice. It's a funny thing the way it's all put in context. Let's see them, or in my case, hear about them, or maybe see the highlights of them in a preseason game before we make any judgments about anything that anybody's doing. And then, of course, when the regular season starts and the lights come on, that's when you'll really know what they're capable of. So that'll be interesting. So I'm kind of curious to see where that all goes. But at this point, I see a lot of opportunity, and we'll see where it all nets out. Now, as for the players and so forth, we heard that Channing Crowder was cut last week, and then Channing Crowder yesterday announced his retirement from the NFL. And Channing's a bright guy. He's actually very smart. He kind of pulls off the quote-unquote stupid, I'm doing air quotes here, stupid sort of mentality, so that people don't see him in the light that they see him in the light he wants them to see them in. The guy's a smart guy. He's got it all figured out. He knows what he's doing, and he's got this plan for his life. Sees his wife. He loves Miami. He loves being down here. His father was a Dolphin. He's a Dolphin for life as far as that goes. He realized that Jason Taylor was let go, that Zach Thomas was let go, and he knew his time was coming, so he went ahead and just, when they let him go, they just released him. He decided, he went on a couple of tours of other cities, and he realized that's not what he wanted to do. His heart is in Miami, his family's in Miami, his wife is pregnant, and she's due in a couple of months, and he wants to be down here. So he took his retirement. He wants to go into broadcasting. More power to him. Hey, if you want to take over this videocast, be my guest. But his intent is to go out there and do something different and lead a different life than he's been leading. And the thing is, over the course of his career, he's made somewhere in the neighborhood of $11 million, give or take. At a $50,000 a year salary that, the average person makes, that takes 220 years to get to that kind of money. So I don't think he's really hurting. The guy was smart enough to invest some of his money. He bought a truck and a couple of other things, but mostly he's kept his expenses. You don't hear about extravagant spending from him. So in that sense, I think he's going to be fine. So good luck to him, and we wish him well. There was a story this week about, actually it came out yesterday, about some fans having videotaped at practice. Now, the Dolphins are very specific. You cannot videotape at practice. If you're a press member and you videotape or you take pictures at practice, they will revoke your press credentials. If you're a fan, they'll kick you out and they'll ask you to delete the video, or they'll call the police and take it from there, whatever they do. But, and that's one of the reasons, I'm not into the practice anyway, but that's one of the reasons I didn't do any of these at practice, because there's no point in it. I'm going to follow the rules. I'm still a fan, and I'm going to follow. If that's the rule they put down, I'll follow the rule. Now, why that rule is there, I can't understand. It's integrity of the game, and they want to protect themselves, and they don't want anybody to see anything. But the practice is open to the public. If the Patriots or the Jets or any other team want to send someone there to watch the games and take notes, they can do that. Anybody can take notes or do anything, see anything they see. They just can't videotape or watch it. And how many times are you gonna break down these first 2 weeks of practice and really look at what the Dolphins are doing on offense or defense as being what they're going to do all season? I'm sorry, if they're going to do any of that stuff, they're going in the practice bubble. So I just think it's kind of silly, this whole thing about, well, you can't videotape and you can't do anything. They even told us we couldn't do any audio from there. And I was able to kind of get around that rule last year and the year before, where I went out to practice and got some audio when they weren't practicing and stuff, and we didn't talk about the practices. So, kind of worked out okay, and it wasn't live streaming. So, not really, maybe bending the spirit a little bit, but the actual law didn't violate it, because, like I said, I respect the fact that they have the law. That they put the rule down. I'll respect the rule. I may not agree with it, but I'll respect it in that sense. So anyway, that's my take on that. So That's pretty much it. I mean, I look forward to seeing what they can do in the next couple of weeks, where they go. Oh, I did want to comment one funny thing that Tony Sperano said this week. You know, he was talking about how practice was going and everything, and he goes, "Well, normally we would have gotten in 12 practices by this point, so we've only got 8, so we're going to have to da 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 da." He's going on, and I'm thinking to myself, well, this is the new NFL. From now on, you're only going to have those 8 practices at this point. Your training camps are shorter, your OTAs are shorter, you only have 1-a-days instead of 2-a-days, except in some very specific situations. You know, it's a different world. You know, and it's interesting the coaching staff hasn't adjusted to that. Something I've been trying to do is get my hands on a copy of the CBA, or at least the provisions of the CBA, to find out some of the inner details. You know, what does the injury rule look like if somebody goes on injury reserve? What are some of the changes in in what's going to happen with the teams and how they can release players and the transition tags and all of that stuff? You know, that still some of that was being ironed out, so I haven't heard the final verdict on all that stuff. But I'm kind of curious, so I'll keep you posted if I do find it. So that's all I've got for now. I guess I'm out for now, and we'll talk again after they play their first preseason game. See ya.